My name is Ethan Walker. I am 32 years old. And for most of my life, my family acted like I didn't exist. Not because I was cruel. Not because I was lazy. Not because I failed them. But because I was invisible. I was the quiet one. The child who didn't demand attention. The son who didn't fight back. The brother who learned early that silence was safer than truth. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, in a house that looked warm from the outside. White siding, a trimmed lawn, holiday lights every December. Inside, it was colder than winter. My parents, Robert and Linda Walker, had already decided who mattered in that house. And it wasn't me. The family hierarchy. My older brother, Jason, was the pride of the family. Football star, loud, confident, always winning something. My younger sister, Megan, was the miracle child. Smart, social, always praised. And then there was me. Middle child. Quiet. Average grades. No trophies on the shelf. At dinner, conversations flowed around me like I wasn't sitting there. If Jason spoke, my father listened. If Megan laughed, my mother smiled. If I spoke, someone changed the subject. I learned young that love in my family was conditional. You earned it by being impressive. And I was. The first time I R-E-L-A-Z-E-D. I was 14 when it fully hit me. It was my birthday. No cake. No candles. No happy birthday. My parents were busy celebrating Jason's college acceptance letter. I remember standing in the doorway of the kitchen, holding a glass of water, watching them cheer. I waited. Minutes passed. No one noticed. That night, I wrote my name and age on a piece of paper and pinned it above my bed, just to remind myself I existed. Becoming invisible on purpose. By the time I reached high school, I stopped trying. I didn't argue. Didn't complain. Didn't ask for help. When teachers praised me, my parents said, "That's nice," and asked Jason how practice went. When I told my mother I liked computers, she said, "That's not a real career." So I taught myself quietly. Old laptop, YouTube tutorials, public library books. At night, while my family slept, I learned how systems worked, how data moved, how problems were solved silently. No applause. No encouragement. Just me and the screen. The day I left home at 18. No fight. No dramatic goodbye. Just a duffel bag and a bus ticket. My father shook my hand like I was a distant coworker. My mother hugged me quickly, distracted. Jason didn't look up from his phone. Megan said, "Good luck, I guess." That was it. No calls after. No check-ins. I vanished from their lives as easily as I had lived in their house. The years no one saw. For the next 8 years, I struggled quietly. Small apartments. Night shifts. Freelance tech jobs that barely paid rent. There were nights I ate instant noodles for dinner 3 days in a row. There were months I didn't speak to another human outside of work. And still, my family never called. Not once. No birthdays. No holidays. No, "Are you okay?" To them, I had simply faded out. The turning point. At 26, something changed. A small cybersecurity firm hired me for a temporary contract. I didn't talk much. I just worked. I fixed a problem no one else could. Then another. Then another. Within a year, I was leading projects quietly while others took credit publicly. And then one night, during a data breach crisis, I made a decision that would change everything. I stayed. While others panicked, I traced the attack back to its source. What I uncovered wasn't just a hack. It was a national-level security failure. And I reported it. When the world finally saw me. 6 months later, My name appeared in an internal federal report. Then another. Then the news. Cybersecurity Analyst ETHAN Walker, ID and TIFIES, major data exposure. I didn't even tell my family. I didn't need to. Because suddenly, they remembered me. The first call in years. My phone rang one evening. Unknown number. I answered. Ethan, my mother's voice said, hesitant. It's Mom. 8 years of silence. And suddenly, I existed again. The silence after my mother said my name felt unreal. Ethan, she repeated, softer this time. We saw you on the news. Of course they did. 8 years of nothing, and now suddenly my existence was headline-worthy. I didn't know you were doing all this, she added carefully, as if choosing the right tone might undo a decade of neglect. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling of my small apartment. I'm busy, I said. And I hung up. The FLODGTS open. That call opened something I didn't know still existed. Within days, messages started appearing. My father emailed me, formal, stiff, like a business inquiry. Proud of you, let's talk. Jason sent a text. Dude, crazy seeing you on CNN. Didn't know you had it in you. Megan followed on Instagram. No apologies. No acknowledgement of the years. They ignored me. Just curiosity. Interest. Ownership. The interview that changed everything. 2 weeks later, I was invited to do a live national interview. Bright studio lights. Makeup artist adjusting my collar. Producer counting down. 3, 2. The anchor smiled at the camera. Tonight, we're joined by the man whose discovery prevented one of the largest data leaks in U.S. history, Ethan Walker. For the first time in my life, someone said my name with respect. They asked about my work, my methods, my journey. Then came the question I didn't expect. Who supported you along the way? The room went quiet. I thought of my empty birthdays, my unanswered calls, the silence. I supported myself, I said calmly. The clip went viral. When Pride REPLACED guilt. That night, my parents called again. This time together. My father spoke first. You didn't have to say it like that. Like what? Like the truth. You could have mentioned family, my mother added softly. I laughed. A short, humorless sound. You weren't there, I said. So I didn't lie. Silence. Then my father cleared his throat. Well, families reconnect, especially now. Especially now. Not when I was invisible, but when I was valuable. The invitation. A week later, a formal invitation arrived. Family dinner. Celebration. At their house. They wanted photos. Smiles. Proof that they raised me. I almost didn't go. But something inside me needed closure. Back in the same house. Walking through that front door felt surreal. Same walls. Same table. Different energy. My mother hovered around me like I might disappear again. My father asked about contracts. Connections. Jason bragged to his friends about his little brother. Megan filmed everything for her social media. No one asked how I survived. Only how much I earned. The question that broke me. Halfway through dinner, my father leaned forward. So, Ethan, he said casually, you're doing really well now. I nodded. We were thinking. My mother added quickly. Family helps family. Here it comes. Jason smirked. We might need some support, investments, advice. 8 years of silence. And now they wanted access. I set my fork down slowly. Do you remember my 18th birthday? I asked. They froze. No one answered. That's what I thought. The shift. The mood changed instantly. Smiles faded. My father stiffened. "You're being dramatic." "No," I said quietly. "I'm being honest." I stood up. "I didn't become who I am because of you," I continued. "I became who I am despite you." Megan stopped recording. Jason looked uncomfortable. My mother's eyes filled with tears. Real or strategic, I couldn't tell. The consequence THEY didn't see coming. The next morning, news broke again. Another major revelation. Another interview. But this time, the story wasn't just about cybersecurity. It was about whistleblowing, accountability, and family pressure. And hidden deep in the article, a mention. My father's company. Under investigation. I hadn't reported them, but the systems I exposed led investigators straight to their door. When power shifts, my phone rang again that evening. My father's voice was shaking. "Ethan, we need to talk." I looked at the city lights outside my window. For years, they ignored me. Now, they needed me. And for the first time, I had the choice. For a long time, I just stared at my phone. My father had called 3 times. My mother left 2 voicemails. Jason texted, "Bro, this is serious." Megan sent a message that simply said, "Please." That word made me laugh. Please. They never said that to me when I was 17, eating cereal for dinner alone. They never said it when I moved out with nothing but a bag and silence. They never said it during 8 years of complete absence. But now, when their world was shaking, now they remembered how to ask. The truth behind the investigation. The investigation into my father's company moved faster than anyone expected. Fraud, data manipulation, illicit financial reporting. Things I had never known about growing up because ignorance was part of the design. I hadn't targeted him. I hadn't even mentioned his name. But truth has a way of following clean trails. And I had cleaned a lot of systems. News anchors spoke carefully. Sources confirm that the investigation is not connected to Ethan Walker directly. However, his discoveries triggered the audit that revealed the violations. That sentence repeated across channels. Over and over. When the house collapsed, 3 days later, my mother called again. This time, she was crying. Not soft tears. Ugly ones. "They're freezing the accounts," she said. "They took the computers. Robert hasn't slept." I stayed quiet. "We didn't know," she whispered. "We were just trying to survive." I closed my eyes. "So was I said. The final meeting. They asked to see me. One last time. Neutral place. A quiet cafe near the courthouse. When I walked in, I barely recognized them. My father looked smaller. Jason avoided my eyes. Megan didn't bring her phone. No cameras. No pride. Just consequences. My father stood up. "Ethan's son." That word sounded foreign. "I don't want your money," he said quickly. "I don't want your help. I need to know." I sat down. "Know what?" "Why you didn't stop it." I met his eyes. "Because no one stopped it for me." Silence fell between us. The question that mattered. My mother reached across the table. Her hands shook. "Did we really hurt you that badly?" That was the first real question they had ever asked me. "Yes," I said. Not angry. Not loud. Just honest. "You didn't hate me," I continued. "You just didn't care." Jason swallowed hard. Megan cried quietly. And for the first time, they listened. No revenge, no rescue. I didn't testify against them. I didn't protect them either. I told investigators the truth. Only the truth. And then I stepped away. Because real power isn't destroying people. It's not saving them when they never saved you. The day and my name meant something. Months later, my life changed again. New role, national advisory position. A foundation in my name, helping overlooked students in tech. The press asked the same question over and over. Do you feel validated now? I thought about it. No, I said. I feel free. The last message. One night, long after the headlines faded, I received a message from my mother. I hope you're happy. I stared at the screen. Then I typed back. I am, and I hope you learn. I never heard from them again. The real ending. Sometimes people ask if I regret not reconciling. I don't. Because peace doesn't come from being noticed. It comes from no longer needing to be. For years, my family ignored me. Until my name was on every news channel. But by then, I didn't need them to see me anymore. I had already learned how to stand alone.